Here we go.
Do it.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Coffin Talking, where we unravel the mysteries, embrace the peculiar, and find humor in the unconventional world of funerals and death. How'd you like that?
Well, it kind of caught me off guard.
Oh.
Funerals and death. And she's just looking at me. Coffin, she's just looking at me, wanting to know what's he doing now? How's he gonna react?
What's gonna happen next? Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. So, Holly, how's your week been?
It's been good. It's been a very busy week for me with work.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's been good.
Has the work been busy because you're still you're in that learning curve, or do you feel like you're pretty good about what it is they've asked you to do, and it's just now trying to catch up and be proficient in what they've asked you to do?
Yeah, I think it's more the second. And this past week, we had a conference for all of the project managers. And so that took us out on Thursday and Friday all day. And so that's tough because no one else slows down, you know? So there's just a lot to catch up on, I guess.
Well, yeah, well, at least you're doing it.
Yeah.
How's your stamina going? You staying pretty active and without fatiguing too often? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
I'm doing pretty well.
Good.
And I really like the job, so I feel like that helps a lot.
Sure.
Because it's not the emotional fatigue of having to, kind of the drudgery of having to go into work every day and like, have to do this again. I really do enjoy it. So that really helps a lot. One update that is a little controversial is that we started listening to Christmas music yesterday.
You know, what's funny is I was driving home and I thought to myself, I could turn on Christmas music.
Yeah. Might as well.
Why is it controversial, Holly? I mean, is your tree up yet?
No, the tree is not up.
Wasn't it up this time last year?
Yes, it was.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, we put it up really early last year.
Because you wanted to be there. That's why.
Yeah, we weren't going to be there. So we wanted to enjoy it as much as possible. But yeah, I feel like it's just controversial because a lot of people, they don't listen to Christmas music until December 1st or right after Thanksgiving. And usually I am the after Thanksgiving person, but heard Christmas music in a store and forget it. After that, it's been playing on a loop.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I will tell you, bringing up Christmas songs, I was in a hospital and I was just waiting for a security to come down and let me into the morgue. And I just started singing Hark How the Bells. Hark How the Bells, sweet silvers. And the security guard came down. Oh, Christmas already. Wow. And I said, it's never too early for Christmas.
We're going into the morgue. We're going to need as much joy as possible here.
I said, we should never stop singing Christmas songs.
Yeah, Christmas songs.
I said there's a great message to all the Christmas songs.
And that's what Caden said too, is Christmas music just has this ability to make you feel better.
Yep.
And even positive music that isn't Christmas music, it doesn't hold the same weight. I don't know what it is. It's just associated with that time of year, I guess, or what. Right. But it does. It makes you just feel, it feels nice.
It does feel nice. And it is it's just kind of a relaxing time. And I know that with the commercialism and stuff, if you don't get caught up in the commercialism, it can be a beautiful time.
Yeah.
And just relax and enjoy and actually reflect upon what the season truly means.
Right.
So, and what it's for.
Anyway. Truthfully, yeah. I wish that it was stretched because I know it kind of, for me at least, the excitement of Christmas starts in October. Because then it's starting to get
You mean when you go in and try and find a Halloween mask and you have to fight through all the Christmas garland?
Yes, all of the Santa hats. Come on.
Oh,
No, but
that's funny.
it just starts feeling nippier outside, a
Yeah,
bit colder,
yeah,
and then it all leads up to Christmas. And it's
yes.
only 3 months of it, but so I wish that it was like a longer season. I
Hmm.
guess it is a fourth of the year, but
Have you had snow yet?
no. I was going to say that too. It's so weird. The high today was 60.
Oh my gosh.
And I hear that Colorado is getting slammed with snow this week.
Well, good.
But
Because
it
Arizona
has
gets their water
not.
from snow. Colorado.
Oh, yeah. The river.
Yeah.
Colorado's river.
Hear
Yeah.
your grandpa talk about it.
Oh my gosh.
You
Yep.
Arizonans steal all of our water.
Okay, Grandpa. We need it.
Yeah, but think of all the lives you're saving, Grandpa.
Seriously.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so we have not
Mhm.
gotten snow, and I'm kind of sad about it.
I would be too. I had some family members in the mortuary today that had driven through Flagstaff to get to the mortuary for the service coming up, and I asked if they had seen snow. One of them in the car said no, but the driver said yes, there was snow in Flagstaff.
Yes, we did, actually. You were asleep for that part.
And I only know there was snow because I had to maneuver through it.
Yeah. So enough that it had to be maneuvered through, so that's good. Okay.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
did hear that one of the ski resorts are opening early this year. They're actually, I think they open this weekend.
In Utah?
No, here.
In Arizona has ski resorts?
Oh my gosh, Holly.
I had no idea.
Yes, they do.
Is it only in Flagstaff or Snowflake?
No. This Snow Bowl is low. I'll have to look and see where Snow Bowl is located. I've never skied in Arizona, unfortunately, and probably never will. I've hung up my skis and won't ever ski again, probably.
You were a pretty big skier, though, back in the day.
For a while, I was, yeah. I enjoyed it. So then it got too expensive.
Oh my gosh, it got so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just couldn't. I could not weigh that fee anymore. And when I had other things I could have paid for.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. But we've been busy too. I didn't know if you were going to ask or not, but I'm glad you picked up on it, Holly.
Oh, learning from the best.
There you go. So no, we've been very busy, which is good, but bad because trying to fit episodes in, just like right now, we were just talking about how we're under the gun again and trying to get this out for tomorrow. And Coffiners, hope you appreciate it. But yeah, it's kind of it's a peculiar episode today that I do want to share. So it'd be interesting to see what Coffiners' reactions are to it. And maybe they'll laugh about it. I laughed about it. As I think about it now, I'll laugh about it. But at the time, yeah, and we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Okay. Well, is there anything else from your week that you want to report on?
Let's see. No, nothing comes to mind.
Well,
I will say this, though. There were 2 happenings this past week that are going to be episodes.
Oh, spooky.
And so I would say you and I might not think so, but to the Coffiners that listen to these stories, they may look at it and go, what happened? Yeah, it's very interesting anyway.
Great.
So we'll have to see what happens there.
Okay, well, more on that later, but for today, let's go ahead and be frank.
Thanks, Holly. So the story I want to refer to today is one that occurred, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, 5 years ago. It doesn't matter. But a young lady walked in, and her husband and 3 children had just moved from Missouri and were living in a Motel 6. And when I say living in a Motel 6, can you imagine that, living in a motel?
No.
Yeah, I know some people in larger cities will live in hotels, but this was a Motel 6, and here she was, and the family living in this Motel 6. Now, the way that they were able to afford living in the Motel 6, because he did not have a job. He was looking for a job, but did not have one. And she took on a housekeeping job that allowed her to live at Motel 6 while working for Motel 6. And not only providing them with a place to stay and live, but also just some small additional income so that they could afford to pay for food.
Yeah.
So that's how they were surviving. So in walks this young lady, and I'm going to say young because she was probably at the time maybe late 20s, early 30s. And she walked in and she just sat down and she just said, I need to make arrangements because my husband died. And I said, oh, okay. So let's go ahead and get some information. Well, as the information was given and gathered and conversation continued, she said that he had, he was probably early 30s, if I remember correctly, and had taken just a mixture of drugs and overdosed and had died not in the apartment they lived in, but in an apartment a couple of doors down. So she didn't really know where he was. He left in the morning saying he was going to go look for a job. And then that afternoon was found 2 doors down from their apartment, passed away. And so the medical examiner was called. He was taken over. And so she said, I don't know exactly where to go from here. So we started talking about the different options. And she had said that probably the one thing that she did want to do is just go ahead and have a memorial service with him being cremated. If he was cremated by the time the memorial service happened, great. We'll have this cremated remains there. If not, don't worry about it. We'll still have the service. So with that in mind, we went on ahead and we continued on with the service. Now, she said, I need to tell you that there's going to be some family that's going to be coming in from Missouri. So we want to set it out far enough to where we don't have to worry about logistics on getting them out here really fast. And I said, okay, and this is true, Coffin. It doesn't matter who it is you're talking to or what about you're talking about, but when you are put in a position where you need to be the one deciding when the funeral is going to happen, the best thing to do is just give me a date. Give the funeral director a date so that the services can happen. If the people that are coming in from out of town want to be there, they'll find a way to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the main thing, right? You would agree, Holly?
I do agree.
Okay. So the main thing is to just go ahead and set the service at your schedule. Don't worry about the schedule of anyone else. And truthfully, that is true. And even in my case, I'm thinking to myself in a couple of funerals that I've gone to, and I'm thinking, oh, they do it that day. And then if the person is close enough to me, I'm still going to be at the service.
Yeah.
Even though I may be thinking, why that day?
I would have done this day.
Yeah. So a week went by and I still hadn't heard a date from this lady. So I called her and the number had been disconnected. And I thought, oh no, she's ghosting me. That's what I thought. So I knew that she worked for Motel 6. And so I drove over to Motel 6 and I asked the manager if this lady was there working today. And she said, yeah, it's been periodic. It's been back and forth. Hasn't been totally reliant on her schedule. So she's scheduled to be working. I don't know that she is. That's the way she put it. I said, oh, okay. So she said if she is working, she would be doing some of the rooms on the upper level.
Okay.
So I just walked up the stairs and started walking down the breezeway, trying to find where this woman might be working. Sure enough, I found her. And I'd mentioned to her that I'd been waiting for a phone call to tell me where and when she wanted to have these memorial services. So she said, okay, I've decided a week from Friday, which was okay. He'd already been cremated by then, and it's fine. Week from Friday, and she says, we're just having a hard time with some of the family members. And I said, what's the problem? And so, because the only reason I ask is because I want to know and be prepared if that problem's going to bleed into if it's going to move into the mortuary during the service. You see, I want to know, I just want to know what to be prepared for.
Prepare for the worst.
Oh, correct. And so this, she mentioned, now she tells me that the 3 kids that she has are not her children. They're his children.
Oh.
So apparently they got together in Missouri and they decided to just move to Arizona and try and set down new foundations in another state. But his mother, the grandmother to the children, was now fighting her already, trying to get possession of those babies, of those children. And so she was trying to avoid her. That's why she disconnected her phone. That's why she was trying not to be found.
Yeah.
But she'd already given me her address where she lived and worked. And so I knew where to find her. And so she made me promise that I would not, if anyone called the mortuary, that I would not give her name or her number and address. I said, it's fine. No one really needs to know anyway. If they're close enough to you, they'll find
They'll
you.
know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that being said, I went back to the mortuary and I went on ahead and started making plans for the services at the mortuary on that particular Friday. I get a phone call from a lady that says, well, I'm so-and-so and she's just a gold digger. She pulled my son from this state and was taking him to Arizona and trying to start something new. It wasn't his idea.
Is she really a gold digger if they were living in a motel and she was the sole provider?
Well, that's what I was thinking. While she was almost right to the point of yelling at me.
Right.
I was just sitting there listening and I said, well, she's here now. She's trying to take care of your son's memorial service. So that should say something. I said, she doesn't have everything. I mean, there's not much to the worldly what she could fall back on. Right. So anyway, we had this kind of conversation with the grandma. And so the day of the service showed up. And about 12 hours before the service, which I always love, she called and said, can I get some flowers? And so, florists love it when you call them at the last hour and say, I know it's 9 p.m., but I need flowers by 9 in the morning, and this is what they want. So anyway, the florist was very kind, but the florist arrived at the same time as this grandmother. The grandmother walked into the, and I know my florist, okay? So I know that the flowers that I ordered and so forth. And so here's what transpired. And this is only a tip of the episode. She walks in at the same time as the florist. She reaches over and she takes the flowers and she says, I'll handle it from here. Now there were only two vases. So she grabbed both vases and right around the corner, if you know the layout of the mortuary, which most don't, but I can be around the corner and I can hear what's going on. I can hear people coming in and out of the building and I can hear conversations that's taking place because I'm just around the corner.
Yeah.
And so I heard her say that, and I guess he just turned around and walked out of the building. So I came around the corner. Yeah, because the flowers had been delivered. He usually likes to sit and talk, but apparently in this case, he said, I'll just keep moving.
I'm going to leave.
Yeah. So I walked around the corner, and she says this, here, I hope you can find a place for these. I just brought these in myself.
No way. Oh my gosh.
And so I took a second look and I go, wow, it looks like the ones that I ordered through our florist.
Yeah.
Wow. We're on the same wavelength. And so I took the flowers and I think I embarrassed her just enough to where she didn't say anything more about the flowers. But I took the flowers, and I don't know if people realize this, but there's cards with the flowers. Yeah. And so I'm just thinking, okay, we'll open these cards and it'll show that, it's from the wife, but oh, well, whatever. So I went on ahead into the chapel and I set these down. She wanted to know where the urn was. And so the family didn't, like we've talked about before, they didn't have a lot of money. So they just stayed with the hard durable plastic urn, that black urn that's plastic, heavy plastic. And it was sitting up front. And she said, no. My son's not going to be in that. No. And so I said, okay, we have time. If you want to look at the urns that I have in inventory, we can make the switch if you'd like. So she chose one, and I said, okay, that'll be $345. Oh, no. So here the family wanted a nice urn, but didn't want to pay for it.
So she was saying, we're not being in the urn, but I'm not paying for it.
She wanted that urn, but she wasn't going to. Yeah, that's right. She did not want to pay.
Was it one of the more expensive urns too?
No, it's just an average urn.
Okay.
And so I said, well, okay. And I said, then I'm not going to put him in it. And she goes, well, why wouldn't you put him in it? I said, number one, you're not going to buy the urn. Number two.
No.
Number two, as soon as you put him in there, I have to sell it as used. Why would I do that? I'm not
going to do that.
So we came to an agreement where for $15 she could rent the urn and have it set on a little podium in front of the chapel with his cremated remains under the table. Well,
Oh.
That didn't sit too well with the wife. The wife said, "Oh no, we aren't going to have that type of a display here. It's either he's going to be in it or he's not." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, do you want to pay for the urn?" And she said, "No, I'm going to keep him." Yeah, no. I'm going to keep him right in the same urn, and she'll just have to live with it. So she hadn't paid me. She was going to pay me at the end of the service.
The
so
wife?
the mother to the deceased.
Okay.
So the grandmother to the children. So I left it on the podium, and just before the service began, the minister was walking up there. I just walked up there and I moved the urn and put the plastic urn back and walked out of the room.
Right before it started.
Just right before the service started, so that there was no
sneaky.
argument. So, what's she going to do? Stand in front of a group of people and say, "What are you doing with my son's urn?"
Right.
Whatever. That's whatever. Okay. So now the service begins and progresses forward. My friend, the minister, was, I thought, doing a great job with the service when he turned the time over to people that wanted to say something.
Oh, no.
So the grandmother got up. So now remember, there's a tiff going on between the grandmother and the son's wife. Mm-hmm. And so she gets up and she starts to belittle this lady that had married her son and had gone on and just, okay, now the chapel was full. We only seat about 70, 75 people in the chapel, but it was full. And which was quite a nice showing, considering they'd only been in the state for 3 months when he passed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that said a little bit about her and him. So anyway, she decided to bring everything out as far as those being his children, and that she had no legal, and this is in her talk and in her comments, that she had no legal right to hang on to those children. And she looked at this wife, this grieving widow now, and said, "Oh, and by the way, I will be taking you to court so I can take foster, so I can foster these children or adopt these children." And so
the grandmother is looking around the room saying, "Also, you all will be called as witnesses to this conversation."
Yeah, whatever the case might be. But anyway, so the grandmother went on about this, and my friend stood up and said, "Okay, that's enough." The minister stood up and said, "Okay," and I could hear him whisper, "That's enough. Probably need to let some others speak." And so
no.
So she went back to her seat and was just as quiet as could be through her conversation. Now, when this wife to the deceased came into the building to come to the services, she was immaculately dressed in white and white pants, white shirt, little jacket, blazer jacket. And the kids too were dressed in white. And I remember this specifically because of what I'm about to tell you next. Yeah. And after a number of people had actually stood up and said their memories or their saying grateful things towards this young man that had passed, she decided to stand up and say a few remarks. Now, she was very gracious in her comments. She never once belittled the mother of the deceased, never once belittled anyone in the family. I had mentioned that she would love to still raise the children because she felt like she was on the same mental plane as the gentleman that passed away in knowing how to raise those children.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, she did an interesting thing. She stood up and she was behind a podium. So no one really noticed about what was going on. But she comes around out in front of the podium. And she says, when I put on this outfit, I recognized it as one of my husband's favorite outfits. And every time I wear this outfit, he was so complimentary and always told me how beautiful I was and always never once drew back on the comments or compliments on my wearing this outfit. And as she's talking, she takes off the jacket. So she takes off her jacket and she lays it across the front pew. And then she stands up and she starts walking in front of everybody in the chapel. And she's still talking. Hold on. And she's still talking about her husband when I noticed, which everybody else had to have noticed as well, that clothing was so tight and sheer.
Oh
That,
no!
yes.
There's a reason he was complimentary.
Oh my gosh, Holly, I was embarrassed for her.
Did she not realize?
I don't know if she did or not. I think she just liked the idea of being complimented. But I'm telling you, and I don't want to be too graphic, coffiners, but there was nothing left of the imagination. I'm
Oh my
serious.
gosh.
And if she was wearing a bra, it was not evident. And if she was wearing panties, that was not evident. And so, yeah, here she was just strutting around and walking and talking as though she was right in her own room, her own house, and talking to him and saying, "Don't you think I look good in this?" Kind of that, look at me, focus on me. I don't think anyone could not focus on her.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So anyway, the service ended. She immediately took the kids. This widow took the kids that were still in her charge, and she left the building. And the grandmother came out and she said, "Did you see what was?" And she called her some really negative names, like the S word, the W word. She said, did you see how that S and W acted? Can you only imagine how she reacted and lived with my son?"
Oh.
And she goes, "I wouldn't doubt if she's a P, like a lady of the evening." And so I just sat there and I looked at her and I said, "So what are you going to do from here on out?" And she goes, "Well, I told you I'm going to pursue I'm going to try and adopt my grandchildren." And I said, "Oh, okay." So 2 weeks later, I get a call from this grandmother. She says, "The attorney's going to call you." I said, "Don't have the attorney call me." And she goes, "Why?" And I said, "Because I'm not going to get involved with that." And she goes, "Well,
Why
I
would
need
you
to."
get involved with that?
Exactly. Because she couldn't reach her, but she knew that I knew where she lived.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. And so I said, the only way I can do that is if you send some sort of a legal subpoena or warrant telling me that I have to abide by the legal request. So I hung up the phone and kind of in a nervous way went right to Motel 6 to let her know what was happening. And the day of the service, she skipped town.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
She left.
She left with the 3 children. And to this day, I have no idea how that turned out.
Oh my
So
God.
I don't know what happened to her. I don't know what happened to the family. And the grandmother stopped calling me because she would call me "You need to help me find her. You need to help me find her." So no, I don't.
No, I don't. Sorry.
If you're that close to her, she should be reaching out to you.
Right.
I just need my grandkids. And so anyway, I can see the family dynamics and how that would happen. However, and I'll tell this to anyone. If you come into me, I look at my position as a funeral director as a sacred one between me and the family. And even though we may share stories here, I try very hard not to give names because they're secret. It's still a trust that's there.
Yeah.
But I don't like to have families call me and tell me that what I have to do. And so that was the extent of my communication with the grandmother. But I always wondered, and whenever I think of this young lady, and she was young, trim, fit, and then to have her parade herself in front of everybody saying, "Yes, I received so many compliments from my husband when I wore this outfit." And then she said, when we'd go out and I'd be in this outfit, I'm thinking to myself,
you went out in that?
Oh my word. She had a beautiful hat on though.
I love the hat.
Oh my gosh.
That is the moment.
So Holly, there it is. There's that story. I know it doesn't really mean, but it's peculiar in the sense of what people would wear because we should probably talk a little bit about funeral attire, and it has changed a lot since I started in the industry and what it is now. So, if you want to talk about that sometime, we should. Maybe if a coffin has a question regarding attire. But
let's talk
maybe
about
we'll include that. Yeah. So just make a note of it, Holly, so I don't forget. But, yeah, it's very interesting the way she was dressed and the way she thought that she was dressed to the nines, and she was. It's just that she was exposing a little bit more than what most people would or should.
Right.
So
Ew. I
anyway,
think,
for funeral attire, I said, well, okay, if you wanted to go out with your husband looking like that, I guess that's great. But I don't know that you want to come to your husband looking like that. I don't know.
yeah. I think
Anyway,
maybe she went home, realized that her outfit was completely sheer, and then
maybe.
just skipped town out of sheer embarrassment. Sheer embarrassment.
I picked right up on it, Holly.
I think I didn't at first, so
Oh my gosh. Anyway,
jeez.
I just feel bad because I don't have any way of knowing how this story ended, excepting
Right.
for what I witnessed when everybody left. And I will tell you this, they were very complimentary about how the funeral home handled things, but then she got very ugly after the services trying to
The
get me
wife?
to, no, the
No, the
grandma.
mother. Okay.
Yeah, trying to get me to help her find the wife or the widow.
Oh.
So anyway,
Well, is that because you didn't compliment her on her flower arrangement that she did herself?
and they were both the same. Wow.
Wow. Such talent. Last minute, too. Wow.
And I thought it was interesting that one vase would have a purple ribbon and the other one had a white one, which is exactly what, because purple was his favorite color, white was her favorite color. So on each of the arrangements, that's what she wanted, just so that they could identify through her what their identifications were with regards to colors. And so I just, the whole situation just made me laugh, how she tried to come in and make herself look like she was the one that truly cared about her son. And, she never even did bring any flowers, not even a card, nothing.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah.
Also, the fact that she came in saying that the wife was a gold digger, and then
Oh,
she
yeah.
says, "No, I want a better urn," and then refuses to pay for it. What?
Oh, man. But no, she did the gold digger thing on the phone. And then when I met her in person, I just thought, okay, yeah, I can see where this attitude is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you sometimes get that jive from people, and all of a sudden when you meet them, you just say, okay, yep, it explains a lot.
Understood. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Wow.
So,
That's
anyway.
crazy. Well, I hope that the wife and the kids lived happily ever after.
That's what I think.
Truthfully.
That's what I was hoping. And she was just so worried about those kids because she knew her husband did not want her mother involved with those kids' lives.
Oh, seriously, he didn't.
Yeah. And that's what she told me at the end. And she just said, I can't have her involved with those kids' lives. I would feel like I'm letting my husband down.
Yeah.
Because of the conversations that they had, apparently. Right. So, anyway.
Wow. Anyway. Well, good for her.
Any comments? Yeah. Good for her. Yeah. It's funny because when I went to Motel 6, and when I went to Motel 6 and I was looking for her, I noticed the white outfit in the trash. What?
It was a little more than a napkin, but
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
Anyway, I would be interested in knowing
in front of people.
What's that?
I can't believe she just paraded in front of everyone.
Oh my gosh, she had no idea. I don't think she had any idea.
Oh.
Unless she looked at herself in the mirror and thought to herself, no one's going to notice that, surely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one's going to. They're just going to see my beauty and how well I wear this outfit.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Well, hopefully it's something she can look back on and laugh at now.
Yeah, I'm sure she did and has. But yeah, it is interesting that I kind of would like to know how she's doing.
Yeah.
And I should probably call the grandmother, see how she's doing. And she'd probably just say, "Well, you ready?" Yeah, maybe not, because then she'd probably say, "Well, did you ever get a hold of my whatever daughter-in-law?" So I don't know. And then the grandmother blamed and this is the sad part. The grandmother blamed the ex-wife or the widow for her son taking drugs. When in actuality, see, that's that's the whole argument. And I would be interested in, number one, knowing what coffiners think about attire at funerals. The second thing is do you ever have someone close to you that's passed away from a drug overdose or maybe alcoholism, something like that, and you take it personally, or do you reflect the blame onto somebody else? You see what I'm saying? Or
Oh,
are you
yeah.
saying, look, I may have had a part in doing that, but it's all their fault because they lived with them.
And I think we've talked about this before, but I think that's, again, just like a lot of times you can't really get any closure with
Right.
death if someone dies suddenly. So you do try to put blame onto someone or onto yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can't blame that person because they're dead.
Yep.
They're gone.
Yep. We had an experience with that today that I told Holly Coffiners earlier that it will become an episode because of what transpired. And it's, yeah.
Yeah. It's sad.
It is sad.
I guess moral of today's story is be confident in what you wear because you look amazing.
Oh, shades.
And if you have the opportunity to take credit for a bouquet, take it.
Do it. No, the confident in your attire. It's nice to listen to what people are saying about you, but maybe take a moment and look at yourself.
Really take a second look over.
Oh my gosh.
Think, how is this going to look in direct sunlight?
Or how would it look with the sun behind me?
Yeah.
Oh. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. Anyway, well, thanks for that, Holly.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
But that's today's story, and thanks for joining us. Let us know if you have any stories like this or any questions. Feel free to email us at letsbefrank@coffintalking.com. There's no apostrophe in the let's. I after we made that email address, I thought, do email addresses let you put apostrophes? Because what if people are emailing us there?
Well, now they know, right? So there is no apostrophe in the S.
There's no apostrophe, Coffiners. I'm so sorry. I didn't think about it. I thought I was being clever, but I'm really setting you up for failure. Or send us a DM on Instagram at Coffin Talking.
There you go. All right.
And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Coffiners. Have a great week.
Hey.